because it's been stuck at 725 since.
Well, exactly. Exactly. And that needs to rise federally. I mean, there's only a couple states who abide by the federal minimum wage. And like, shame on them. If you're out there, you know who you are. But like, what the F? Every other state, like 47 of them, have raised their minimum wage.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous that they require the federal minimum wage to move before they do that. Like, they're the ones who are keeping their people poor.
right.
If I lived in one of those states, I don't know, I would burn it down. But
I mean, yeah, and with the Walmart, they use their employees as a subsidy, and they
oh yeah.
get like, yeah, most of their employees have to file for some kind of welfare just to make ends meet, and
And
that's
then they spend those food stamps at Walmart. Walmart is double dipping. They pay them very little, then they don't have to pay them enough, so they go to the government to get money. That's a tax write-off for them, and then they turn right around and they spend that money where they work at
and
Walmart.
then they get taxed 5 times for that food stamp. So I don't know what they do, but they could very well. But and this is the thing, guys. Small businesses, well, they're going to get hit and feel it the hardest. The big chains will survive because they have tons of money to blanket their fall. But your
That's true.
favorite mom and pop shop might close its doors because they can't afford to keep up. Is that really the win we're looking for,
Well,
Jagade?
here's what I've always said. I've always said if you can't afford the business, you shouldn't be in business. To be honest, if you can't afford to pay people a living wage, even without the federal minimum wage being going up, like if you're a mom and pop's business and the minimum wage is $15, you should be paying people $25 in the first place. You should be wanting to split that revenue and that profit with the people as much as you can. It should be quote unquote like a family.
Yeah.
Like, I get why corporations don't pay more than the minimum because they don't know who you are. You're just another number. But especially mom and pop agencies, they should be paying people more. That should be the case. So if they can't afford to keep up with the minimum, then they are a failing business, and they honestly, in my opinion, should fail.
And you're right. And I always tell people whenever you sacrifice your dreams to live and partake in somebody else's dreams, there's a give and take. You're giving up something that you could easily do to push someone else's dreams further along, and you should be compensated. I mean, you really should be compensated, guys. Don't I've had that happen to me so many times where you give up a dream for somebody else's dream, and then they pay you back by trying to manipulate the situation, cow tag you, kind of gaslight you, which you got to get out of situations like that. It's not a good thing. It's not a
Yeah.
good fit for your mental stability, really.
No. Yeah.
So, and then here we go, guys. Policy number 3 is affordable housing initiatives. And I'm not sure what you guys know about affordable housing, but when I first got here to Texas, the housing was really affordable. You get a 6-bedroom, 3-bath for about $275,000
Girl,
at state.
what?
Oh yeah, it's crazy. But now, I think the median now in Texas is about $400,000 for about a for something like that size. So I guess you say, let's get into the housing. Every politician's favorite buzzword, affordable housing. There's a talk about building more low-cost homes to help people get a roof over their heads. But is building more really the answer? Gaze, what do you think about building more affordable housing?
I think it's dumb. I think the building more housing isn't addressing the problem. It's like you saying you can fix your car that has a dead engine just by putting more gas in it. Like, yeah, let's add fuel to the thing that's already not working. Like, the issue isn't that we don't have enough houses. Firstly, it is, like they said, affordable housing, which is very specifically like single family homes and apartments and stuff like that. They want to focus on the type of buildings that they're building. But I still don't think that's a solution to the problem because it's not that we don't have enough houses. We have so many houses. We have more houses than there are people, but they sit vacant because nobody can afford the damn houses.
So how do we bring the cost down?
Well, that's the question. Well, firstly, we need to get rid of the big corporations that are buying up all the real estate. The people
Yes.
that are investing, the Vanguard, the BlackRock,
BlackRock.
these people that are just buying millions of properties, things that would have been a single family home owned by one family being sold. Like you said, you bought it in 1970. Now you're selling it back to the market. It used to be a transfer from one individual to another
Yeah,
individual. And then now the corporations are coming in and saying, I'll take that. And they're bidding double. They're raising the prices with their bids.
it's
And then they hold
destabilizing
on to
the
that
housing market.
property, raising
Mhm.
all of the ones around it. And
Yeah,
the only one that wins is the corporations. The corporations should not be able to buy houses. That's what it
they
is.
shouldn't.
They should
And
only
don't
be allowed to buy retail property.
Yeah, and don't forget, in big cities where housing costs are already sky high, you can build all the affordable units you want, but you're still not addressing the reasons why prices are so insanely high in the first place. It's treating the system like a disease that has no cure. Because once those corporations buy up all those housing, they destabilize the market. They are the market. So yeah,
Yeah, and if you build a nice shiny building in a bad economy, for example, then you just have a monument. You have a big empty broken building because if someone can't afford to live there, you see it all the time. Especially in LA. Like you mentioned LA, you see these brand new shiny buildings go up. They're like 18 stories tall. They're all condos, not even
yeah,
apartments, but condos for sale, and 70 to 80% of those buildings will sit empty.
yes,
It is
especially in San
wild. They
Francisco.
just have yeah, they have all of these open spaces, but nobody wants to pay $1.5 million for a two-bedroom apartment. And they just sit there and they think building these new things will be like, well, it's shiny, it's new, people want modern accessories and appliances. They're gonna come flock to this. And I mean, some people do, but not many can afford it. So
It's true. Nobody can afford it. That's the problem with it.
and then
And
they take tax write-offs. They take a loss and they just say, "Oh well, I tried to build housing,
mhm,
even if it's not affordable." But they say, "I tried to build housing. I was doing a community thing," and those retail managers, the retail owners, get so much money in tax write-offs. If you can imagine building something that is $15 million for a building that then sits vacant, they get all 15 millions of that written right off. They don't
we're
care if they
subsidizing
rent
our
out or
own
not.
downfall. Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely. So FDR gave us social security nets or the social nets of safety for America. So policy number 4 is expanding social security or expanding social safety nets. So all right, let's talk about social safety nets. Things like food stamps, unemployment benefits, and healthcare subsidies. These are designed to catch people when they fall. And they're great. We've been using this stuff since FDR, like since 19 what 35, 1945. But things happen out of nowhere. And the reality is most of them are already stretched thin, and we're still waiting on the checks to catch up with inflation. And I don't think I know inflation is going down, but to cases, do you think it's ever going to happen that we actually catch up with where we need to be to level out these social safety nets? Because I think you and I know when we retire, I don't think there's going to be anything left in that piggy bank.
Retire. Yeah. Look, safety nets are great, but only if you can find one without holes, you know? People are gonna be falling through all these little policy traps, if you will, and it doesn't cover everybody. So FDR had a really great idea when he set up these social safety nets, and it was a different time, a different economy. Corporations weren't doing this, whatever this is right now, where they own literally every industry. Like we had monopolies, but they were able to fight against them with the antitrust laws. It wasn't like today where you have Procter and Gamble owning cereal and also cars and also property and also they're making clothes and also like they don't own every freaking subsidy company. But he never even wanted it to end there. You know, he really wanted there to be a second New Deal. And he proposed even constitutional amendments that would have made things much more even and much more appropriate for Americans. But it fell through and he didn't get that done in his time, obviously. But it was a really good idea. If anyone wants to look that up, look up what he wanted to add to the Constitution because he has some great ideas.
Yeah,
But we are already I mentioned it earlier, we're backed into such a wall with capitalism that you can throw social safety nets at a lot of different things. And I think we should. Don't get me wrong. Don't say I'm thinking we're like I'm not a Republican. I don't want to take away food stamps. I don't want to take away Medi-Cal.
I would never do that. No.
Yeah, like I want people to be able to have, especially the people who need it the most. I say let's increase the social safety nets for anybody. But when it comes down to things like retirement, like you mentioned, things that are being treated as if they are a social security thing when they should be more of a right, we're going to be lost. Like right now, they're treating basically social security like it's unemployment, as
I
if
mean,
it's
it's
just a
like
temporary thing. Like you're just going to be old for a couple years, and that's
we need
not
that.
the case.
Yeah.
Like
People are
we
living
do
as
not.
well into their hundreds now. And it's like
Yeah.
giving someone an umbrella in a hurricane. Sure, it helps, but you're still going to get so